All right, folks. Greg Saltz here, aka the Governor, class of '63, year of birth, not year of graduation. What's got me doing this vlog today is a response to the anti-Christian bigotry being foisted upon us by the left during this COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Oz had given a speech on Fox News, and this vlogger from Canada had an anti-Christian bigoted response to it. And that's kind of what got me on this rant, because I had already seen a trend of anti-Christian reaction, much like what happened during the Black Plague when the Jews were attacked. And I kind of expected that to happen against Christians during this pandemic. And sure enough, it's happening. So I'm going to show you this clip that Dr. Oz had stated about reopening the schools, which is a controversial clip. And then I'm going to show a few other instances of anti-Christian bigotry. And then we're just going to wrap it up. So first, let's just start with this clip from Dr. Oz appearing on Fox News recently.
Yeah, I tell you, schools are a very appetizing opportunity. I just saw a nice piece in the Lancet arguing that the opening of schools may only cost us 2 to 3% in terms of total mortality. And, you know, that's any life is a life lost. But to get every child back into a school where they're safely being educated, being fed, and making the most out of their lives with a theoretical risk in the backside, it might be a trade-off some folks would consider.
Okay, I want to get into that in a second, but while that's fresh on your mind, I want you to hear just this quick response from this left-winger from Canada.
And so this just goes to show how in conservative media spaces, especially Fox News and other right-of-center spaces, evangelical, right-wing evangelical spaces,
Okay, so this guy went right to the evangelical Christians to attack the evangelical Christians. So what Dr. Oz was saying was kind of misunderstood, because he was referring to this article that said if the schools were to reopen, it might cause a 2 to 3% increase in the amount of mortality amongst the people that were getting the COVID, not a 2 to 3% of the American population, which is how these guys were portraying it. Oh, Dr. Oz is cool with 9 million people dying, when actually the article referred to it's a possible 2 to 3% increase in the amount of fatalities, which would be, in the thousands, which is, pretty crazy for these guys to be saying that. But when you and these are our kids, but when you look at the number of people that die in the common flu that comes around every year compared to the numbers that were dying from the coronavirus, you can see how people can be drawing these comparisons and saying, why are we overblowing this thing when the numbers aren't anywhere near what they said they were going to be? So this guy, Christos Evelis, he's got nearly 24,000 followers on his YouTube channel, and some of his followers were making just outrageous comments that they were backing up his take, so they were jumping on his take to expose their own anti-Christian, anti-conservative bigotry. Here's Ryan DeFosse. This is what gets me about so many of the Christian conservatives. They seem to only care about lives when they are unborn, which is a complete fallacy. I mean, if you have to lie to bolster your case, you really don't have a case. You can see this scene right here unfolding across America on Sunday morning and Saturday mornings of the food banks by the tens and hundreds of thousands of people that were going and being cared for by the born-again Christians, and not just the born-agains, but, a lot of the other Catholic charities and the Lutherans. But you can see Christians like really, really reaching out, and the amount of money that Christians spend via NGOs and Sunday morning donations, where all this money comes from around the world, just dwarfs that of the United Nations. So for them to say that the Christians only care about the unborn, it's just poppycock. Another reaction from one of this guy's subscribers, or maybe just somebody who just watched the video, whatever. I will not stop making this point, says Jason Blade. Eugenics and social Darwinism are the key principles in the right-wing ideology in America, which is nonsense. If anybody knows history, they know that this is just complete nonsense. So he's making up, other things to bolster their maybe they're just being spoon-fed this stuff from the left-wing media. So make no mistakes. He probably means make no mistake. They notice that this affects the people they hate. I'm trying to clean up his writing, his English here. That's why you see this push for reopening the country. So he's saying that the Republicans and, it's probably throwing the right wing, evangelicals in there to boot. Because we're the ones that have been trying to clamoring, like, hey, can we go to church? Can we go worship God on Easter? But they're making the insinuation that the conservatives only want the nation to open back up because this COVID-19 is disproportionately affecting Black people and maybe brown people as well. I'm not quite sure about that, but they're not taking into consideration all the pre-existing conditions. Are they social distancing? What's their diet? All these things you're supposed to take into consideration. And so just because the disproportionate number of people that are passing away from this are African American, they're not taking anything. They're just right away playing the race card, right? Democrats never leave home without the race card. And so he's bringing in this ridiculous eugenics. And anybody who knows anything about history knows that Margaret Sanger is a left-wing liberal who founded Planned Parenthood, right? Look at her quote: "We want to exterminate the Negro population," right? These are the own words of their own people. Here's another quote from her with the term eugenics in it. Eugenics is ... the most adequate and thorough avenue to the solution of racial, political, and social problems. There's their final solution, to eliminate the African Americans by abortion. And there's a disproportionate percentage of abortions with Black Americans when you base it on the total population of the different races. So once again, fact is stranger than fiction. So I got this thing in my way here. So another quote by on this YouTube channel of Christos: "They love it, killing the weak, the poor, and the minorities. So perfect a killer, no wonder they botched the response." So basically what they're saying is because conservatives, and not just conservatives, trust me, small business owners want to reopen this economy, that they say it's gonna affect minorities. So conservatives want to open the economy just to kill minorities. And it's pretty comical considering they are the party of the KKK and they are the party of eugenics. Matter of fact, here's a clip from Ted Cruz about how the Democrats are the party of the KKK.
And I'll point out, listen, the Democrats are the party of the Ku Klux Klan. You look at the most racist, you look at the people, the Dixiecrats. They were Democrats who imposed segregation, imposed Jim Crow laws, who founded the Klan. The Klan was founded by a great many Democrats. And yet now the Democrats just accuse anyone they disagree with of being a racist. That was a false smear of Jeff Sessions.
So yeah, the word racist almost means nothing in this. Whoa, what happened? Almost means nothing in this country anymore. The way Democrats just willy-nilly throw it around. If they don't like you, if they don't agree with what you say, they just call you a racist. They just sound like little kids. There's just no common sense. More lives lost than were lost in the Holocaust. This is okay with the money-hungry Republicans. There they are. Republicans only care about money, so they want to open up schools and businesses, and who cares how many people die? But what would they say if one of their own pretty much said the same thing? Mayor of New York City, Mayor de Blasio, 1 month ago.
So what I'm finding is New Yorkers are pretty tough, and they're listening and they're making adjustments. But our schools are running, and we said, even if, God forbid, we found a case in a school, we're not shutting down all our schools. We're not even shutting down that school long term. We're going to go in, clean that school, isolate individuals who had that really direct contact, and then get up and running. We'll have a day where a school is shut to get reset, then get back up and running. Because people's livelihoods are at stake. Parents need a place for their kids. We can stay safe, but still keep our lives going, our economy going. People have to pay the rent. People need money for food, etc. We cannot shut down because of undue fear. That's my concern. So So
he's basically saying the same thing that most people with common sense have. If you don't have small business open, people are not going to have money in their pocket. And, we can't just continue to just print money out of thin air and just disperse it and not think it's going to devalue our currency and cripple this economy. And while the Chinese just laugh at us. Okay. So this guy, and I can't blame him a month ago for saying these things because of the disinformation that came out of China and the World Health Organization. I mean, thank God Trump shut down the flights coming from China as early as he did, because there's no question it saved tens of thousands of lives. And when he shut down flights from Europe, I said, whoa, this is way more than what we are being told. So a month later, let's look at the about face of Mayor de Blasio.
And after very careful consideration, I announced today that the New York City Public Schools will remain closed for the remainder of this school year.
So gone is the bravado, in comes the soft, quiet talk, and we got to shut down the schools, and everything is so bad that we're just going to take it out on those Christians. Mayor de Blasio.
Everyone has been instructed that if they see worship services going on, they will go to the officials of that congregation. They'll inform them they need to stop the services and disperse. If that does not happen, they will take additional action up to the point of fines and potentially closing the building permanently.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Mayor? You're threatening to permanently close churches if people decide that's where they want to go and worship God. He has made no such statement towards any other institution, but they're going right for the jugular of the Christians. Remember you guys know the MyPillow guy? What's his name? I got it right here. I'm sorry. Mike Lindell came out not too long ago about being a born-again Christian, and President Trump put out the call for this public-private correlation, a partnership to try to deal with this COVID pandemic. And this guy says, yeah, I'll join you, President Trump. I'll use 75% of my pillow-making capacity, shut that down, and I'm going to make N95 face masks, right? And in this speech, standing next to President Trump, he mentioned God. And listen what this guy says, Jason Lewis. Mike Lindell, founder of MyPillow, answered the call and converted 75% of his manufacturing capacity to make 50,000 N95 masks per day. Yet the left-wing media and blue check marks, I don't even know what blue check marks are, that's a new expression to me, are outraged he mentioned God, because they know he's a born-again Christian. Anybody else can mention God, it's fine. But if you're a born-again and you mention, in Jesus' name, oh, wait. Remember, was it Rick Warren said in Jesus' name during, was it when Trump got inaugurated? All the media just flipped out. So here's an example of the reaction here. Here's Dave.Anton. Please explain how this is appropriate. I'm a praying man. I'm a God-fearing man. I'm all ears as to how it is at all appropriate. Why did I take my glasses off when I'm not done reading? How is it at all appropriate to a general public that has diverse beliefs? How dare he mention God when there's people who don't worship God? It's only because he's a born-again Christian. So you know about this church in Kentucky, right? The governor is going after the born-again Christians in Kentucky, and he's targeting them, and he's daring them to go to church. You go to church and we're going to get you. So because he sent out all this vitriol, his little demonic minions with their dark souls, some of them went to that church and just threw nails all over the parking lot, right? So what does the Kentucky State Police do when they show up? You think they're there to defend the Christians? Huh. Let's backtrack to the governor, and then we'll forward to how the Kentucky State Police, what they're doing when they get to this church parking lot.
Bashir said on Friday that there would be consequences for people who attend in-person Easter services. Shortly after the mass started, KSP put notices on people's cars saying that their license plates had been reported. The notice also said that health departments would be contacting them and putting them in self-quarantine for 14 days.
There you go. We are going to document your license plate. We're going to come to your house. And we're going to mandatory quarantine you if you go worship God on Sunday, on Easter Sunday. Isn't that ridiculous? This guy got me going.
And so this just goes to show how in conservative media spaces, especially Fox News and other right of center spaces, evangelical or right-wing evangelical spaces, they're
This is so true. The right-wing conservative circles and evangelical Christians, these people have no soul. They have no conscience. And I'm proud to have used this brand new equipment that I've been, slowly purchasing, the Logitech webcam, the Yeti mic, the computer, everything that to start to put together these webcams to defend my faith. Because the Jews have the Anti-Defamation League, right? You defame a Jew, they're on you like white on rice. But the Christians, we don't have, an Anti-Defamation League for Christians. White male born again Christian, we're the softest target in America. Every movie, even the movies produced by the Jews, the very Jews that are like, demanding that there can be no anti-Semitism unless, they're going to out you, right? Rightfully so. But for us, who cares? You say something about a Muslim, hoy vey, you're out of whatever career you're in, right? You're blackballed from Hollywood. You demonize Christianity, you go right to the front of the pack. You get the Oscars, you get the Grammys. You demonize the Christians. And so my message to you, we can only control our own little circles, right? When you're around people that start to mock Christians, look at that guy, look at it. Just put a check to it. Say, no, man, leave him alone. If he wants to worship God, let him worship God. You want to mow your lawn on Sunday morning, you mow your lawn on Sunday morning. This guy wants to go to church on Sunday morning, and he wants to volunteer in the parking lot as a greeter. God bless him. Who's he harming? What if he's right? What if you're wrong? So that's my message to you, in your circles, defend the faith and put a stop to people that just think that they can just, they're taking the Lord's name in vain gratuitously. I hear it all the time. Normally I don't even say anything about it. I just ignore it, but it's just driving me nuts how it's just commonplace to attack Christianity when it used to be like super cool to be a Christian in this country. And now you admit to being a born again Christian, you're just vilified. It's nonsense. These people hide behind their computer and they mock you, right? For what? For being a decent person? For actually believing in the fact that all the prophecies in the Old Testament talking about Yeshua being the Mashiach, and you happen to believe that he fulfilled these prophecies in the New Testament and he died for your sins, and you believe that? For that, you're going to be completely vilified with all the religions out there in the world, that nobody really makes fun of. But the born again Christianity, they throw that term evangelicals, the fundamentalists. They believe in the fundamentals of the Bible. Yeah, it's the Word of God. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And hit the like button and the subscribe. And hope to see you soon. Thanks. That's not bad.